You trudge through a dreamscape, where shadows of ancient Greece flicker in the warm glow of twilight. Hello, my dear friends. Imagine the vibrant market stalls of Athens, the sun-kissed temples and the enchanting whispers of gods weaving through the air like fragrant incense. Yet, amidst this splendor, lies a secret and not so glamorous truth about the life of Hermes, the messenger of the gods. You probably won't survive this revelation, as it may shatter the idealized image of divine beings flitting about on celestial errands. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. As you snuggle deeper into your blankets, visualize Hermes zipping through the heavens, his winged sandals barely touching the ground. This is the image we all adore, isn't it? The swift-footed herald, dashing between Olympus and the mortal realm, his every movement an elegant ballad of purpose. But what if I told you that behind that dazzling fade lies a life filled with logistical nightmares and tedious responsibilities? You see, while Hermes is often portrayed as the epitome of grace, his existence is peppered with the mundane, sorting out the divine mail, translating cryptic messages from Zeus and dealing with the relentless bureaucracy of the underworld. Yes, you heard that right. Imagine being the only one tasked with handling the chaotic flow of souls arriving at the gates of Hades. Each day, Hermes wakes to find a mountain of paperwork waiting for him, as if the afterlife operated on a 9-to-5 schedule. In this ethereal realm, he's surrounded by souls that can't quite seem to grasp the concept of moving on. They linger, dragging their feet, asking endless questions about what to expect. Can you picture it? A line of whispering shades, each with their grievances, while Hermes, the once majestic messenger, sighs and sorts through their complaints like an overworked postal employee. The glamour of his duties evaporates in the face of this overwhelming reality. Furthermore, there's a sense of irony in how his role is perceived. The mighty Hermes, with his elegant robes and shimmering wings, is actually just a middleman in a cosmic game of telephone. The gods, who sit in their grand halls feasting on ambrosia, often forget about the painstaking details that Hermes tirelessly manages. Each message he carries is steeped in the mundane, filled with the trivialities of godly squabbles over who owes whom a favor or what mortal has displeased whom this week. As you nestle deeper into your pillow, consider the symbolism of Hermes's winged sandals. You might picture them soaring through the clouds, granting him swift movement and freedom. The reality, however, is that they're often scuffed and worn out from constant travel. Just as a pair of sneakers might wear thin after a long jog, Hermes finds his footwear fraying at the edges, a constant reminder of the labors that come with his divine status. In the grand tapestry of Greek mythology, Hermes stands out as a figure caught in the crosshairs of expectation and reality. While the glamorous illusion captivates the imagination, the stark truth of his life presents a different narrative, filled with the drudgery of duty and the weight of responsibility. As you continue to drift off into your slumber, remember this: like Hermes, we often carry burdens unseen by others, and sometimes the weight of those responsibilities dulls the luster of our own dreams. And so, with the image of Hermes sorting through paperwork in the underworld, we prepare to venture deeper into his life and uncover more of the secrets that lie beneath the surface. As you settle deeper into your cozy reverie, let your mind wander to the underworld, a place swathed in shadows and secrets. Picture the grand entrance, the river Styx shimmering with a hint of gloom, while the echoes of despair mingle with the whispers of the past. Here lies the realm, where Hermes finds himself not just as a messenger, but as an unwilling participant in a chaotic dance of souls. The glamorous illusion of the afterlife, as depicted in myths, paints a serene picture: peaceful fields, endless banquets, a place where the departed find eternal rest. But the reality is far from this idyllic view. The underworld is less like a grand paradise and more like a bureaucratic nightmare, with Hermes stuck in the middle of it all. Imagine him arriving at this twilight realm, sandals scuffed and worn from countless journeys, to a cacophony of souls clamoring for attention. You might imagine the souls as serene figures, drifting gracefully across the landscape. In truth, they're often anything but. Each soul arrives with baggage, literal and metaphorical, complaining about the lack of proper guidance, weighing down Hermes as he attempts to fulfill his duties. Instead of a swift delivery of souls to their final destinations, he finds himself caught in absurd conversations about unfinished business and unresolved grievances. Why can't I go back and tell my brother I love him? One soul wails, while another insists, I wasn't ready to die. Picture Hermes, exasperated, juggling these requests like a harried manager in a fast food joint, trying to keep everyone happy while dealing with their never-ending complaints. The paradox of his role as a divine messenger is stark. Instead of gliding effortlessly from one realm to another, he's tethered to the chaos of the underworld. And let's not forget the bureaucratic layers that exist even in death. Charon, the ferryman of souls, often grumbles about the souls that refuse to pay the toll or that aren't in his manifest. Here, Hermes must step intermediate, smoothing over tensions and ensuring that the souls don't riot over their impending journeys. There's a bizarre irony in a god being caught in a web of rules and regulations established by the very mortals he's meant to guide. Beyond the chaos, Hermes grapples with the deeper implications of his work. Each soul represents a life once lived, a story cut short. The burden of such knowledge weighs heavily on him. You might picture the gods laughing and feasting in their lofty halls, blissfully unaware of the monochrome existence that Hermes must navigate. Wrapped in the heavy fog of the underworld, Hermes becomes a reluctant therapist, listening to the regrets and sorrows of the departed, forced to act as the middleman between the living and the dead. Yet, amid this chaos, there are moments of surreal humour. Picture Hermes rolling his eyes as he hears a particularly melodramatic soul lamenting their fate, only for another to chime in with, "At least I didn't have to deal with taxes anymore." This blend of tragic and comedic elements is a hallmark of Hermes' role, revealing the unexpected layers of his existence. In this swirling miasma of lost souls and unresolved issues, Hermes remains ever the mediator, labouring under a divine duty that often feels more like a chore than a celestial privilege. As you drift closer to slumber, consider the weight of expectation he carries, the pressures that come with the title of messenger. The images of vibrant myths fade, replaced by the truth of a god who, like many of us, must juggle the demands of daily life against the backdrop of a grand purpose. Now, as you float between dreams and reality, let the thought of Hermes navigating this chaotic underworld linger in your mind. There's something deeply relatable about a god wrestling with the consequences of life and death, duty and desire. As we prepare to explore what else lies in store for Hermes, the messenger, keep in mind the layers of complexity that surround those we often idealize. As you nestle deeper into your layers of warmth, let's glide seamlessly into the world of celestial deliveries. Picture the sun-kissed skies where Hermes flits about, delivering divine messages like a heavenly courier service. Might imagine him soaring through the clouds, a gleaming figure of efficiency. However, the glamorous illusion of divine deliveries cloaks the often mundane and tedious logistics that haunt Hermes' daily existence. The reality is, each message he carries is fraught with complications. You see, the gods are not always the most organized beings. Picture a disheveled Zeus, scribbling out orders on parchment with ink splatters and hasty doodles, expecting Hermes to decipher his hastily written notes. Far from the smooth operation you envision, Hermes finds himself grappling with a series of absurd directives, often missing critical details that lead to comical misunderstandings. Imagine Hermes receiving a scroll that simply states, "Tell Agamemnon to prepare for war," but what Zeus forgot to mention is that there's a crucial alliance he needs to discuss first, a detail Hermes wouldn't catch until he's halfway across the Mediterranean. This mix-up doesn't just lead to awkward moments, it can alter the course of history. You can almost hear the collective groans of mortals caught in the crossfire of divine miscommunication. And just when you think it can't get worse, enter the complaints. For every message he delivers, there's an equal amount of feedback that he must contend with. Mortals, particularly heroes, are quick to express their discontent. "Why didn't you arrive sooner?" they demand, or "This message is vague." Imagine the weight on Hermes' shoulders as he listens to their grievances, each one a reminder of the burdens he carries as he flits between the worlds. When he's not delivering messages, Hermes is often seen as a mediator, trying to help resolve conflicts that arise from these misunderstandings. He's the one tasked with smoothing over the ruffled feathers of gods and mortals alike, a kind of divine diplomat. The grand tales of heroic battles and epic quests overshadow the endless hours he spends managing disputes over trivial matters. There's a stark contrast between the epic narratives sung by bards and the humdrum reality of his existence. You might think that a god who can travel at lightning speed would enjoy some perks, but the truth is, Hermes faces a slew of complaints that can make his head spin. Imagine a group of men gathered, each one arguing about whose favor Hermes should prioritize. "I was supposed to get that message first," one cries, while another insists, "but my situation was far more urgent." Hermes, ever the peacekeeper, must navigate these petty arguments while trying to maintain his sanity. Picture him at a cafe in the mortal realm, sipping ambrosia from a cup, only to be interrupted by a hero shouting, "You forgot my message," in the middle of his quiet moment. The incessant interruptions, the endless demands from both gods and mortals, create a chaotic atmosphere that shatters the serene image of Hermes you might have held. Instead of relishing in the joys of being a divine messenger, he's left scrambling to meet the impossible expectations of those around him. And let's not overlook the sheer volume of messages that Hermes must handle. Each day resembles a never-ending to-do list. Deliver this scroll to Hercules, remind Aphrodite to attend the council, check in on Odysseus. The glamour starts to wear thin when you realize he doesn't even have a moment to rest. Each journey is a race against time, and the weight of the scrolls he carries often feels heavier than the wings on his sandals. As you drift further into your dreams, consider the duality of Hermes' existence. The vibrant image of a swift messenger contrasts sharply with the reality of his chaotic, labor-intensive life. He is both revered and burdened, a figure caught between the demands of others and his own quest for purpose. Reflect on how this resonates with your own experiences, navigating the pressures of life while trying to maintain an image of grace. Now, ready yourself to continue exploring the life of Hermes, as we delve deeper into the peculiarities of his existence. The next chapter reveals the unexpected truths behind his iconic winged sandals and the toll they take on his journey through the realms of gods and mortals alike. As you sink into the comforting embrace of your blankets, let's turn our focus to Hermes' most iconic accessory, the winged sandals that carry him through the realms of gods and mortals. These shimmering beauties, often depicted as symbols of freedom and swiftness, evoke images of a carefree messenger darting between worlds. But beneath this glamorous illusion lies a rather mundane truth, the wear and tear of those very sandals and the burdens they impose on Hermes' daily life. Imagine the initial splendor of the winged sandals, crafted by the skilled hands of the gods. They glint in the sunlight, each feather imbued with divine magic, allowing Hermes to soar through the skies with breathtaking speed. You might envision him gliding effortlessly over mountains and oceans, a vision of grace and ease. But as you delve deeper into the reality of his existence, consider the toll that constant travel takes on both the god and his footwear. Every time Hermes embarks on a mission, those sandals bear the brunt of his journeys. Picture the scuff marks and wear accumulating from countless trips across the heavens, each feather slowly fraying from the harsh winds of the Aegean Sea and the rough terrain of the mortal realm. Unlike the immaculate image presented in tales, Hermes' sandals become an emblem of exhaustion, a tangible reminder of the grind that accompanies his celestial duties. Yet, even more absurdly, consider the logistics of maintaining such footwear. As you drift into slumber, visualize Hermes stopping at obscure shoemakers across the realms, receiving odd looks from artisans who can hardly comprehend the complexity of his needs. "Can you fix these?" he might ask, presenting a pair of once majestic sandals, now battered and bruised. Artisans, bemused, must wonder how a god could allow his footwear to become so worn. Beyond just the physical deterioration, there's an emotional weight tied to these sandals. Each journey leads Hermes into the lives of mortals, where he witnesses their struggles and triumphs. With every step he takes, he sees the hardships that come with their existence. The once light-hearted idea of soaring through the skies transforms into a heavy burden as he carries the weight of their stories and experiences. Imagine the juxtaposition, the lightness of flight contrasted with the heaviness of empathy. Moreover, the sandals symbolize the expectations placed upon him. With such a powerful image comes the belief that Hermes should always be available, always ready to respond at a moment's notice. This pressure can become suffocating, creating an internal struggle between wanting to fulfill his divine duties and yearning for a moment of reprieve. The glamour of being a messenger dims against this stark reality of being perpetually on the move, a pawn in the grand game of the gods. In moments of solitude, Hermes might find himself wishing for a break from it all, longing for a quiet afternoon without the demands of the divine. Picture him sitting under a tree, sandals beside him, relishing in the stillness that seems so elusive in his daily life. But even then, he knows that the moment he sits down, a call will come, a message will need delivering, and those sandals will be beckoning him to rise once again. Now, as you continue to drift into a deeper state of relaxation, contemplate the dual nature of Hermes' existence as the glamorous persona adored by many, and the often lonely god burdened by duty. The winged sandals, which seem to embody freedom, also represent the weight of expectation placed upon him, a reminder of the sacrifices that accompany a life lived in service to others. As we prepare to explore the next facet of Hermes' life, let the imagery of worn sandals and the internal conflicts they evoke linger in your mind. Our journey continues as we uncover the secrets behind the caduceus, the staff that serves as both a symbol of peace and a tool for navigating the turbulent waters of divine relationships. As you sink further into the comforting embrace of your dreams, let's turn our attention to Hermes's caduceus, the staff he carries with him, an emblem of his divine authority and a symbol of peace. You might envision it as a beautifully crafted rod, adorned with intricate designs, two serpents entwined around it and topped with a pair of delicate wings. This image evokes thoughts of harmony, wisdom, and balance, showcasing Hermes as a bearer of good tidings. However, beneath this glamorous fade lies a reality that reveals the caduceus is not merely a tool of peace, but often a means of navigating conflict and chaos among the gods. As you visualize Hermes wielding his caduceus, consider its true purpose. While many believe it represents negotiation and tranquility, the reality is that it is frequently employed as a mediator in disputes among deities. Imagine the pantheon of Olympian gods, each brimming with pride and their own agendas, squabbling over trivial matters like children bickering over toys. Hermes, caught in the middle, must use his staff not just to calm tensions but to broker deals and maintain some semblance of order. Picture a scene where Hera and Poseidon are at odds over the best way to handle a mortal's fate. Hermes, summoned to mediate, stands between them with his caduceus raised, attempting to stave off their banter. The staff, instead of merely symbolizing peace, becomes a bargaining chip in a high-stakes negotiation. You could almost hear the biting remarks and see the heavy sighs as Hermes tries to keep the situation from spiraling out of control. His role is less about delivering messages and more about maintaining an equilibrium in an environment rife with egos. In fact, the power of these caduceus also manifests in more unexpected ways. Picture Hermes using it to resolve not just grand disputes, but the petty squabbles that arise daily among the gods. The reality of his life is filled with moments where he must step in to calm down gods who can't see beyond their own desires. One moment he's delivering uplifting news to a hero, and the next, he's mediating an argument between Demeter and Dionysus about the best wine to pair with ambrosia. There's a strange gravity to the caduceus, a duality that mirrors Hermes' own existence. It symbolizes the balance of opposing forces, life and death, peace and conflict, much like the life Hermes leads. While he is a messenger, he is also a peacemaker, often tasked with resolving the complexities that arise from divine interactions. The glamorous image of a serene god is often juxtaposed with the reality of being a workhorse, endlessly managing the needs of others. However, the caduceus also carries a weight of responsibility. With such power comes the expectation that Hermes should always resolve conflicts harmoniously, a burden that can feel suffocating. Imagine him in quiet moments, leaning against a tree with his caduceus resting beside him, contemplating the myriad of disputes he's had to navigate. The anticipation of future conflicts looms large, an ever-present reminder that peace is often a fleeting state. As you delve deeper into the complexities of Hermes's role, consider how the caduceus reflects our own lives. We all carry burdens of responsibility, negotiating our way through conflicts, whether they be in our workplaces or personal relationships. Hermes' experiences serve as a reminder that even those who seem to walk with ease have their share of struggles, their glamorous appearances often belying the true nature of their endeavors. Now, as you relax into a deeper state of tranquility, allow the image of Hermes wielding his caduceus to resonate within you. The staff serves as a bridge between worlds, just as Hermes connects mortals with the divine. As we move forward in our exploration of his life, prepare to uncover the often overlooked and mundane grievances of the mortals he serves and the relentless complaints that fill his days as a messenger of the gods. As you drift further into the gentle currents of sleep, let's turn our attention to the mortals who inhabit the world Hermes serves. Picture the vibrant tapestry of ancient Greece, where heroes and common folk alike live their lives filled with dreams, desires, and endless complaints. While Hermes is often celebrated for his role as the swift messenger of the gods, the reality is that he spends a good portion of his time listening to the grievances of those he serves, a task far more mundane than the glorious narratives suggest. Imagine Hermes walking through the bustling agora of Athens, the marketplace alive with chatter and the aroma of freshly baked bread. He strides confidently, but not without interruption. As soon as mortals catch sight of him, their faces light up, expecting divine intervention. And so, they launch into their complaints with all the fervor of a politician facing an angry crowd. "You must tell Athena that I deserve my reward," one hero insists, while another claims, "I need guidance, Hermes. Why hasn't my ship returned?" Each request echoes with urgency, but often it's just the same old song, repetitive and tiresome. You might picture Hermes, wings still fluttering from his last flight, trying to keep his composure as he fields these demands. In Just the Messenger, he might mutter under his breath, but instead, he adopts a patient smile, nodding as if he has the answers to their woes. The glamour of his role as a divine being vanishes behind the weight of their expectations. Can you imagine the irony? The god of speed and communication, overwhelmed by the very mortals he is meant to assist. It's not just the grand heroes who burden him with complaints. Everyday citizens contribute their fair share as well. Picture a farmer, his brow furrowed, demanding Hermes deliver a message to Demeter pleading for rain. Or a merchant lamenting that his goods have gone unsold due to the whims of the gods. Each encounter is a reminder of how deeply intertwined the lives of mortals are with the divine connection that often leads to frustration for Hermes. Now, let's not overlook the humor that permeates these interactions. Imagine Hermes encountering a particularly dramatic mortal, clutching his chest and proclaiming, "If I don't receive a sign from the gods, I will surely perish." Hermes, stifling a chuckle, knows that the mortal will recover just fine, but the theatrics never cease to amuse him. It's a mix of exasperation and amusement, a delicate balance he must maintain to keep the peace among the chaotic populace. And yet, amid the complaints and demands, Hermes also experiences the more profound aspects of his role. Each interaction offers him a glimpse into the human condition, their hopes, dreams and fears. He listens to their stories, absorbing the weight of their struggles as if they were his own. This connection, however exhausting, serves as a poignant reminder of his purpose. Hermes is not merely a messenger, he is a guide through the tumultuous waters of human experience. However, the constant barrage of grievances can wear down even the most patient of gods. Picture him at the end of a long day, returning to Olympus, wings drooping and eyes heavy. The glamour of divine life fades in the face of such emotional labor. He might long for a quiet moment, yet he knows that the next day will bring even more mortals eager to share their woes. As you continue to sink into the soothing embrace of sleep, consider the burden that comes with being a listener, a mediator, and a messenger. Hermes embodies a dual nature, caught between the divine and the mortal, navigating the expectations of both realms. The contrast between his glorious image and the reality of his life is stark, and it resonates deeply with the human experience of juggling responsibilities while seeking understanding and connection. Now, as you prepare to journey further into the life of Hermes, let the echoes of mortal complaints linger softly in your mind. The next chapter unveils the intricate politics of the gods, the power struggles that often overshadow the beauty of their existence, and further illuminates the complexities of Hermes's position in this divine hierarchy. As you settle deeper into the comforting darkness of your dreams, let's navigate the convoluted world of divine politics that shapes the lives of the gods. You might envision Olympus as a serene paradise, where deities engage in harmonious discussions, share laughter, and indulge in endless feasts. However, the glamorous illusion of a cohesive pantheon masks a reality filled with power struggles, rivalries, and petty disputes that have Hermes frequently caught in the crossfire. Picture Hermes arriving at the grand hall of Olympus, greeted not by the gentle sounds of camaraderie, but by the sharp exchanges between the gods. "I deserve the first seat at the banquet," Hera demands, her voice echoing off the marble pillars, while as counters, "You always take the best spot. It's my turn." The air crackles with tension as Hermes steps in, attempting to quell the rising discord, his caduceus in hand as if it were a diplomatic shield. The reality of divine politics is far from the harmonious image often portrayed in myths. You might think that gods, being immortal and all-powerful, would rise above such trivial squabbles. Yet, the truth is that their egos often lead to conflicts that Hermes must navigate. Each day, he plays the role of a conciliator, skillfully diffusing arguments that threaten to escalate. Imagine him, a reluctant referee, racing back and forth between squabbling deities, juggling their demands like a seasoned performer in a chaotic circus. Consider the absurdity of it all. One moment Hermes is tasked with delivering an important message to a mortal, and the next he finds himself entangled in a spat over who gets to claim the title of protector of travelers. The irony isn't lost on him. He is, after all, the god responsible for guiding wanderers, yet here he is navigating the treacherous waters of divine jealousy. The political landscape of Olympus is a labyrinth where alliances form and dissolve as quickly as they are made. Imagine the whispers that circulate among the gods as they vie for favor and influence. Did you hear what Athena said about Poseidon? One goddess might murmur, while another adds, "I would never trust that as he only cares about his own glory." Hermes must stay attuned to these shifting dynamics, ever aware that one misstep could lead to disaster. And as the messenger of the gods, he feels the weight of their expectations. Each delivery becomes more than just a message. It's a chance to navigate the intricate web of relationships that define their existence. Picture him standing in front of Zeus, delivering a message about a mortal's fate, while simultaneously gauging the god's mood and preparing for any potential backlash from the other gods. The pressure is immense, and one wrong word can send ripples of conflict throughout Olympus. In this political arena, Hermes also has to manage the perceptions of mortals. The gods want to maintain their divine images, projecting power and grandeur to those below. Hermes is often the one tasked with spinning narratives that showcase the gods in the best light, even when the truth is anything but glamorous. Picture him at a gathering of mortals, recounting tales of divine interventions while knowing full well the petty squabbles happening just beyond their sight. And let's not overlook the humor that arises from these political antics. Imagine Hermes, watching as two gods argue over a trivial matter, muttering to himself, they really should consider forming a divine dispute resolution committee. The absurdity of the situation strikes him, and he can't help but chuckle at the lengths to which they will go to assert their superiority over one another. As the laughter fades into the quiet of your mind, reflect on the duality of Hermes' position. He is both a revered messenger and a reluctant diplomat, navigating a world filled with egos and conflicts, all while trying to maintain his own sense of purpose amid the chaos. The glamorous illusion of divine unity fades, revealing the truth. Even the gods grapple with their own insecurities and rivalries. Now, as you prepare to explore the next chapter of Hermes' life, consider the deeper implications of his role in this tangled web of divine politics. We will journey into the realm of fate and prophecy, revealing the burdens that accompany his seemingly privileged existence and the unexpected weight of expectations that come with delivering this will of the gods. As you drift deeper into the soft embrace of sleep, let's explore the heavy mantle of prophecy and fate that rests upon Hermes' shoulders. You may envision a god unfurling scrolls inscribed with grand predictions, the air around him crackling with divine energy and mystery. The glamorous illusion of being a harbinger of fate suggests that Hermes wields ultimate power, guiding destinies with the flick of his wrist. However, the truth reveals a much grimmer reality. The burdens of prophecy often weigh heavily on his heart, and the expectations attached to them can be overwhelming. Picture Hermes standing in a serene glade, surrounded by the whispers of the fates, those ancient weavers of destiny. As he receives their cryptic messages, you might imagine him feeling a rush of excitement. After all, delivering prophecies is a significant part of his role. But with that exhilaration comes a creeping anxiety. The weight of the words he carries can alter the course of lives, force mortals into irrevocable decisions, and sometimes lead them toward their doom. Consider a moment when Hermes is tasked with delivering a prophecy to a young hero, one entwined with themes of glory and tragedy. He approaches the mortal, the scroll clutched tightly in his hands, heart pounding with the knowledge of what lies ahead. The glamorous notion of being a messenger of fate quickly fades as he realizes that he must deliver news that could lead to the hero's downfall. And you feel the tension. Hermes stands at a crossroads, aware that his words might shatter not only the dreams of the hero but also the lives they touch. Every time he delivers a prophecy, Hermes is not merely a voice echoing through time, he becomes a catalyst for events he cannot control. Imagine the fear that wells up within him as he witnesses the repercussions of his messages. A prophecy, meant to guide, can just as easily become a chain that binds mortals to their fates, leaving Hermes to carry the emotional weight of those outcomes. The grand tales sung by bards do not reveal the sleepless nights he endures, replaying the faces of those who received his messages. Moreover, the act of delivering fate is fraught with misinterpretation. The ambiguity of prophecies can lead to confusion and misguided actions, further complicating Hermes' role. Imagine him watching as a hero misreads his words, embarking on a quest that spirals into chaos. The glamorous facade of being a divine messenger shatters as he grapples with the realization that his well-intentioned guidance has led to unforeseen consequences. He feels an overwhelming sense of responsibility, often wishing he could intervene to prevent disasters without violating the sacred laws of fate. Now, amidst these struggles, picture Hermes also facing the ire of the gods. Prophecies are not merely passive messages, they reflect the will of the deities, and they often have expectations tied to them. If one of Hermes' deliveries fails to lead to the desired outcome, he faces the scrutiny of the pantheon. The gods might question his competence or blame him for the failures of mortals, further complicating his already stressful existence. The once glamorous image of a divine messenger morphs into that of a scapegoat, carrying the burdens of fate on his weary shoulders. In quieter moments, Hermes might reflect on the paradox of his existence. He is a god tasked with guiding others, yet he is also bound by the very fate he delivers. The connection to mortals becomes a double-edged sword. While he offers them hope, he is also the bearer of their burdens. As you lie there, consider the similarities in your own life, how sometimes the advice given may lead to unexpected consequences, and how we all must navigate the delicate balance between guiding others and respecting their autonomy. As you let these thoughts dance through your mind, acknowledge the complexity of Hermes' character. He is more than just a messenger. He is a figure who embodies the struggle between destiny and free will, caught in a web of expectations and responsibilities. The glamour of divine prophecy fades in the face of such heavy truths. Now, as we prepare to delve deeper into Hermes' everyday life, allow the weight of his experiences with prophecy to linger in your consciousness. Our journey continues as we explore the mundane rituals that fill the lives of the gods, revealing the extraordinary within the ordinary and how even divine beings endure the repetitive cycles of existence. As you sink deeper into the serene landscape of your dreams, let's turn our attention to the daily life of Hermes, revealing the less than glamorous routines and rituals that fill his days. You might envision the gods as beings of eternal grandeur, reveling in endless festivities, their lives punctuated by epic adventures and heroic feats. However, the reality of Hermes' existence is far more mundane, a continuous cycle of tasks that often feel repetitive and tedious, interspersed with moments of fleeting glory. Picture Hermes rising each day in the ethereal realm of Olympus, the sun casting a soft glow over the majestic landscape. The morning might begin with the same routine, donning his winged sandals, adjusting his flowing robes, and preparing for the day ahead. While it sounds enchanting, the truth is that Hermes' mornings are less about divine inspiration and more about a checklist of duties waiting to be addressed. He often feels more like an overworked office employee than a celestial being, juggling schedules and managing appointments. Imagine him sitting at a celestial desk, surrounded by scrolls and parchments. Each message he needs to deliver is meticulously organized, yet the sheer volume of tasks can seem overwhelming. There's a distinct lack of glamour when you realize that, the night before, Hermes was sorting through complaints from both gods and mortals, trying to prioritize who needed his attention first. Instead of galloping freely through the skies, he is confined to reviewing paperwork, deciphering the often cryptic notes left by the gods. The cyclical nature of his duties can be draining. Picture Hermes executing the same errands repeatedly, delivering messages to us about battle strategies, reminding Athena of her commitments, and even checking in on mortals with mundane requests. The thought is almost humorous, a god who can traverse realms reduced to running errands. His role as a messenger, intended to be filled with adventure and excitement, often turns into an endless to-do list that feels mundane and tiring. And while some might assume Hermes enjoys the thrill of constant movement, the reality is that he craves moments of stillness, rare pockets of time where he can reflect and catch his breath. Imagine him pausing beneath a tree, taking a deep breath of fresh air and longing for a moment of peace away from the demands of his position. But inevitably, his respite is short-lived. A call will come, or a message will need delivering, pulling him back into the fray of obligations. In these quieter moments, Hermes often finds solace in the stories of mortals. Despite his exhausting schedule, he listens to their tales with genuine interest, intrigued by their joys and sorrows. Each encounter provides a glimpse into the human experience, a reminder that beneath the weight of his responsibilities lies a profound connection to those he serves. It's in these interactions that he discovers the beauty of life, the laughter, the heartaches, and the resilience of the human spirit. Yet, amid the mundane, there are flashes of brilliance. Picture Hermes, delivering a message that leads to a moment of profound change in a mortal's life, a chance meeting that alters the course of destiny, or a warning that prevents disaster. These instances serve as reminders of the importance of his work and reignite the spark of purpose within him. The glamour of being a divine messenger shines momentarily, reminding Hermes of the significance of even the smallest interactions. As you lie there, reflect on the duality of Hermes' life. He embodies the extraordinary within the ordinary, the constant push and pull between duty and desire. The grand tales sung by bards often overlook these mundane routines, yet they are integral to understanding his character. Hermes serves as a bridge between the divine and the mortal, finding meaning in the repetition that shapes his existence. Now, as you prepare to venture further into the life of Hermes, let the echoes of his daily routines linger in your mind. Our journey continues as we explore the risks and dangers he faces as a messenger, confronting the jealousy of the gods and the wrath of mortals, revealing yet another layer beneath the surface of his existence. As you tuck yourself deeper into the serenity of the night, let's delve into the inherent risks that accompany Hermes' role as the messenger of these gods. You may envision him gliding through the skies, a symbol of safety and communication, but the glamorous illusion of an unassailable deity quickly dissipates when you confront the reality that Hermes faces dangers from both divine beings and mortal miscreants alike. Imagine Hermes soaring majestically above the clouds, wings unfurling behind him as the wind rushes past. It's a spectacular image, isn't it? But the truth lurking beneath this glamorous facade is that every flight comes with its own set of hazards. Picture the jealousy that simmers among the gods, particularly from those who view Hermes' swift movements as an intrusion or a challenge to their authority. The moment Hermes delivers an important message or favors one god over another, he risks inciting envy and ire in the very pantheon he serves. Consider a scenario where Hermes is tasked with delivering critical news from Zeus to Hades. As he approaches the underworld, he finds himself in the crosshairs of angry spirits who feel overlooked or neglected. The moment he crosses the threshold, they swarm him, demanding to be heard, their voices rising in a cacophony of complaints. While he bears the divine mark of a messenger, the souls of the damned can be vengeful and unpredictable. Imagine Hermes deftly navigating through their grievances, dodging their outstretched hands, knowing that one misstep could lead to chaos. Even more perilous is the jealousy of the gods themselves. Picture us, the god of war, furious that Hermes dared to deliver news to Athena before addressing his own concerns. As Hermes hastily flies back to Olympus, he senses the tension in the air, feeling the weight of Eris' gaze burning into his back. Every encounter can turn into a precarious situation, where a single choice could lead to divine wrath. Hermes often finds himself juggling egos and avoiding the wrath of jealous gods, a task that requires as much diplomatic skill as it does speed. But it's not just divine. Threats that haunt Hermes, mortals, too, pose dangers that can be just as menacing. Imagine him delivering messages to heroes, only to be met with suspicion or anger. One moment he's providing guidance and the next he's dodging arrows from a misguided hero who blames him for their misfortunes. The glamour of his divine stature offers little protection when confronted with the unpredictability of human emotion. Can you picture the absurdity of a god being chased by a mortal with a bow, desperately attempting to explain that he's merely the messenger? Moreover, Hermes also faces the risk of misunderstandings. Each message he delivers carries the potential for misinterpretation, which can ignite conflict among mortals. Imagine him arriving in a town, only to discover that his words have stirred up a rivalry between two families, leading to a feud that threatens to spiral out of control. The burden of his role intensifies as he grapples with the consequences of these miscommunications, knowing that even well-intentioned guidance can lead to disastrous outcomes. And amidst all this chaos, Hermes must maintain a facade of ease and grace. The expectation is that he will always be cheerful, always ready to deliver messages and resolve disputes. The reality, however, is far more complicated. Imagine the toll it takes on him, day in and day out, to wear that mask of confidence, all while navigating through a minefield of emotions and expectations. The glamour of being a divine messenger begins to feel like a heavy cloak, weighing him down with every step he takes. As you continue to drift into the depths of your dreams, consider the paradox of Hermes' existence. He embodies the epitome of speed and grace, yet he exists in a world filled with risks and challenges. The glamorous illusion of a carefree messenger is overshadowed by the reality of his precarious position, caught between the demands of both gods and mortals. Now, as we prepare to venture deeper into the life of Hermes, let the imagery of his risks and challenges linger in your mind. Our journey continues as we explore the misunderstandings that arise from his role, revealing the complexities of communication in a world filled with divine and mortal expectations. As you settle deeper into the cozy cocoon of your dreams, let's explore the often overlooked aspects of Hermes' role as a guardian figure caught in a web of misunderstandings and miscommunications. While you may picture him as a flawless messenger, effortlessly delivering divine decrees and offering sage advice, the reality reveals a far more complicated truth. Hermes often finds himself entangled in a labyrinth of expectations, where the messages he conveys can easily become misconstrued, leading to chaos rather than clarity. Imagine Hermes arriving in a bustling town, his sandals lightly touching the cobblestones as he prepares to deliver a crucial message. He is greeted by an eager crowd of mortals who have heard whispers of his arrival, each one anticipating a glimpse of the divine. The moment he opens his mouth to speak, however, everything changes. The message he carries, meant to bring guidance and hope, becomes distorted amidst the excited chatter and overzealous interpretations. Consider a scenario where he must deliver a prophecy about a hero destined for greatness. While the words are intended to inspire, they become twisted in the minds of those who hear them. Will I be the one to slay the dragon? One hero asks, while another insists, no, it must be me. The original message of unity transforms into a competitive frenzy, leading to rivalries that spiral out of control. Hermes stands there, watching the chaos unfold, painfully aware that his words have sparked discord instead of harmony. In these moments, you can almost feel the weight of Hermes' burden. He is not merely delivering messages, he is the bridge between intentions and interpretations, navigating a delicate balance that is fraught with peril. The glamour of his role fades as he grapples with the implications of each interaction, wishing he could clarify the misunderstandings before they escalate into full-blown conflicts. And you picture him desperately trying to backtrack, finessing words to diffuse tensions, only to find that the damage has already been done. What's more, Hermes faces the challenge of communicating with a wide variety of beings. Mortals, with their complex emotions, often interpret messages through the lens of their experiences and fears. Picture him trying to convey a straightforward message to a hero who is already fraught with anxiety about the impending battle. The hero might misinterpret Hermes's calm demeanor as indifference, leading to resentment rather than trust. In such scenarios, Hermes struggles to maintain his composure, knowing that his very presence is meant to reassure, yet feeling like an outsider to their concerns. And let's not forget the added layers of divine politics that complicate matters further. Hermes often finds himself mediating between gods with their own agendas, each with their interpretations of what a prophecy means. Imagine him caught between Apollo's vision of glory and Hera's desire for control, trying to navigate their conflicting messages while ensuring that the mortals remain blissfully unaware of the discord above them. The task feels monumental, as he attempts to maintain a semblance of order amidst chaos, a true juggling act that would leave anyone breathless. The irony of his role is palpable. While Hermes is imbued with divine wisdom, he is still susceptible to misunderstandings that can lead to dramatic consequences. Picture him making a simple mistake in mispronouncing a name or omitting a detail. The fallout can be staggering, resulting in a series of events that spiral far beyond his control. Each error heightens the pressure on him, reminding him that even the gods must navigate the complexities of communication in order to maintain harmony. As you drift further into your dreams, reflect on the intricate web of misunderstandings that Hermes must navigate. He embodies the struggle of conveying truth in a world rife with misinterpretations, caught between the lofty ideals of the divine and the raw emotions of mortals. The glamorous image of a perfect messenger is stripped away, revealing a character defined by his efforts to connect others, even when the path is fraught with difficulties. Now, as we prepare to journey deeper into the life of Hermes, let the complexities of miscommunication linger softly in your thoughts. Our exploration continues as we uncover the mundane aspects of divine gossip, the everyday chatter among the gods, and how this tedious exchange shapes the perceptions of those involved, including the diligent messenger himself. As you nestle deeper into the tranquil depths of your dreams, let's turn our gaze toward the seemingly trivial world of divine gossip, a realm where the mundane meets the extraordinary. You might imagine the gods engaging in profound discussions about fate and destiny, their conversations echoing with the weight of the cosmos. However, the glamorous illusion of lofty debates often crumbles to reveal a far more tedious reality, the relentless cycle of gossip that permeates Olympus, where Hermes finds himself at the center of it all. Picture Hermes lounging on a cloud, enjoying a moment of respite after a long day of delivering messages. Just as he begins to relax, he hears the familiar hum of gossip swirling around him. "Did you hear about that mortal who thought he could outrun the gods?" one goddess whispers, stifling a laugh. And the way he tripped over his own feet. The laughter echoes, and Hermes can't help but roll his eyes. The gods often seem more invested in the foibles of mortals than in their own affairs, and it becomes a source of frustration for him. While you might envision the gods discussing grand philosophical ideas, the reality is that much of their time is spent exchanging trivial anecdotes and tidbits about each other and the mortals below. Imagine Hermes caught in the crossfire of these exchanges, trying to hold on to his dignity as the gods gossip about every little mistake he makes. Did you see Hermes when he delivered that message? He completely mixed up the names. A wave of laughter would wash over Olympus, leaving him feeling like a punchline in a cosmic joke. The absurdity of it all becomes even more pronounced when Hermes realizes that these conversations often shape perceptions. A careless comment about a mortal's misstep can spiral into a reputation that follows them throughout their lives. Picture him watching as a simple misunderstanding transforms an ordinary hero into a figure of ridicule among the gods. He feels the weight of responsibility, knowing that his role as a messenger intertwines with the very narratives that the gods craft about mortals. Even more bewildering is how gossip travels through Olympus. Like a game of divine telephone, what starts as a harmless observation can evolve into wild tales that distort the truth. Hermes might overhear snippets of conversation about a mortal's daring feats, only to discover later that the tale has morphed into an exaggerated saga kind that would leave mortals shaking their heads in disbelief. It's a surreal experience for him, caught between the absurdity of the tales and the very real repercussions for those involved. Consider also the humorous side of divine gossip, moments where Hermes finds himself both bemused and exasperated. Imagine him listening to a particularly animated discussion about a god who had a disastrous date with a mortal. The details, embellished with every retelling, become increasingly ridiculous until it transforms into a legend all on its own. Hermes can't help but chuckle, even as he shakes his head at the absurdity of it all. After all, the gods may be all-powerful, but they are also incredibly human in their flaws and foibles. Yet, beneath the laughter, lies a deeper truth. The constant cycle of gossip serves as a reminder that even the divine are subject to the same human impulses of jealousy, pride, and insecurity. Hermes is often reminded that the gods may wield immense power, but they are also susceptible to the whims of gossip and rumor. It creates a complicated dynamic in Olympus, where alliances are formed and broken based on what is said in passing, leaving Hermes to navigate these shifting sands with caution. As the evening deepens, reflect on the intricate dance of gossip that permeates the lives of the gods. Hermes embodies the reality of communication, how words can uplift or tear down, how the mundane can shape the extraordinary. What may seem trivial can have profound implications, reminding us of the importance of our words and the narratives we create for others. Now, as you prepare to venture further into Hermes' world, let the echoes of divine gossip fade gently into the background of your mind. Our journey continues as we explore the often unseen struggles for respect that Hermes endures, revealing the complexities of his character and the nuanced way he navigates the perceptions of both mortals and gods alike. As you slip deeper into the soothing realm of sleep, let's delve into a particularly poignant aspect of Hermes' existence: the struggle for respect. You might envision a god who effortlessly commands admiration and awe, revered for his speed and cleverness. However, the glamorous illusion of Hermes as a universally respected deity belies the reality that he often grapples with feelings of undervaluation, both among the gods and the mortals he serves. Picture Hermes standing in the grand hall of Olympus, surrounded by his fellow deities who boast about their glorious achievements: Zeus casting lightning bolts, Ars triumphantly returning from battle, Athena celebrated for her wisdom. Despite his essential role as the messenger, Hermes often finds himself relegated to the sidelines, overshadowed by the more illustrious exploits of others. You can almost sense the weight of his wings as he listens, silently wishing for recognition for the vital work he does. Imagine him wandering the halls of Olympus, overhearing snippets of conversation that further punctuate his insecurities. What has Hermes done lately? One god might scoff. His messages are all well and good, but when does he ever do anything truly worthy of praise? The gossip dances around him like a thorny vine, wrapping tighter and tighter as he struggles to assert his importance within the pantheon. It's a frustrating reality for a god whose very existence hinges on the smooth communication between realms. And while Hermes plays a pivotal role in guiding mortals, he often notices their dismissive attitudes toward him. Picture him arriving at a village, ready to deliver news of victory or offer sage advice, only to be met with skepticism. Why should we listen to a messenger? They might say. What does he know about our struggles? The sting of their words echoes in his heart, a painful reminder that even divine beings can feel invisible in a world filled with turmoil. This struggle for respect manifests in subtle ways. Hermes finds himself constantly trying to prove his worth not through grand gestures but through the small, everyday acts of service. Whether it's guiding a lost traveler or mediating disputes among mortals, he remains committed to his duties despite the lack of recognition. Each interaction serves as a testament to his perseverance, yet the feeling of being underappreciated lingers like a shadow, haunting him as he carries the burdens of others. And let's not forget the irony of his situation. Hermes, the god of communication and cunning, is often the last to receive acknowledgement for his contributions. Imagine him feeling an urge to raise his voice, to demand recognition amidst the cacophony of divine egos. Yet he refrains, knowing that to assert himself too loudly could lead to further alienation. The delicate balance between humility and self-advocacy weighs heavily on him, creating an inner conflict that mirrors the struggles faced by many. In quieter moments, Hermes reflects on the nature of respect itself. He comes to understand that admiration is often fleeting, influenced by the whims of those around him. The gods may elevate their own status through grand stories, but he realizes that true respect is earned through consistent actions and genuine connections. His journey becomes one of resilience, learning to find value in the service he provides rather than in the accolades he seeks. As you drift further into the calming seas of slumber, take a moment to reflect on the complexities of Hermes' character. He embodies the struggles we all face in seeking recognition and respect, reminding us that even the most revered figures can feel overlooked. This journey underscores the importance of valuing oneself and recognizing the contributions of others. Now, as we prepare to delve into the final chapter of Hermes' life, let the theme of respect resonate softly in your mind. Our exploration concludes as we reflect on the echoes of forgotten myths, the narratives that have shaped Hermes' legacy, and the deeper understanding of his contributions to both gods and mortals throughout history. As you drift deeper into the gentle waves of your dreams, let's explore the concept of forgotten myths, those stories and narratives that have faded into the background, yet are pivotal in shaping the legacy of Hermes. You might envision him as a prominent figure in the pantheon of gods, celebrated in grand tales and epic poems. However, the glamorous illusion of perpetual glory often obscures the reality that many of Hermes' contributions have been overshadowed or overlooked entirely, lost in the annals of history. Picture Hermes weaving through these corridors of Olympus, glancing into the vast library that holds the collective memories of the gods. Scrolls and parchments line the walls, filled with tales of heroes and grand quests, yet many of the stories surrounding Hermes remain tucked away, seldom recounted. The irony is palpable. Despite being a vital force within the world of gods and mortals, his own narratives often languish in the shadows, eclipsed by the more flamboyant exploits of other deities. Imagine the various myths that once celebrated Hermes, stories that depicted his cleverness, his willingness to help others, and the subtle wisdom he imparted to both gods and mortals alike. Yet, with the passage of time, these tales have been diluted, replaced by louder legends that resonate more with the grandeur of heroism and warfare. As you visualize Hermes surveying these fading stories, a sense of melancholy washes over you. He is a god who has quietly shaped destinies, yet the world often remembers only those who wield swords and thunderbolts. Consider a moment when Hermes encounters a group of young mortals gathered around a storyteller, their eyes wide with wonder. They lean in as the bard recounts tales of Perseus slaying Medusa, of Odysseus' cleverness in escaping the Cyclops. Yet, amidst the admiration for these tales, Hermes notices the absence of his own contributions to such legends. The realization stings a reminder that even a god can struggle for recognition in a world captivated by the spectacular. But as the echoes of forgotten myths linger in the air, Hermes begins to understand the deeper meaning behind this obscurity. He reflects on how the stories we choose to tell shape our understanding of ourselves and our world. While many myths celebrate the extraordinary, the quiet tales of mercy, connection, and guidance often go untold. Hermes realizes that it's not only about the recognition he seeks, but also about the impact he can have on those he touches through his actions, irrespective of the stories told about him. In these contemplative moments, Hermes embraces the beauty of the mundane, recognizing that every interaction he has with mortals and gods alike contributes to the tapestry of existence. He finds solace in the knowledge that the essence of his character lies not only in grand tales, but also in the subtle, everyday acts of kindness and guidance that shape the lives around him. As you drift further into the soothing embrace of night, reflect on the nature of legacy and the power of storytelling. Hermes embodies the truth that while some myths may fade, the essence of one's contributions can endure through the hearts and memories of those he has touched. The significance of his role transcends the need for acclaim. It resides in the quiet strength of being a guiding force in the lives of others. Now, let's prepare to conclude our journey through the life of Hermes. Allow the reflections on forgotten myths and the nuances of legacy to settle softly in your mind. We will draw our exploration to a close with a gentle wind down that encapsulates the essence of Hermes' character and the profound lessons woven throughout his tale. As you sink deeper into the soft embrace of sleep, let's take a moment to reflect on the journey we've shared, the intricate tapestry of Hermes' life and the lessons embedded within his existence. You may have imagined him as a gleaming figure flitting gracefully between divine realms, but the reality we've uncovered is far richer, filled with the complexities of duty, the weight of responsibility, and the longing for recognition. Hermes embodies the dualities of existence, the god of speed and communication, forever caught between the sacred and the mundane. He is a figure who dances along the edges of glory and drudgery, navigating the tumult of divine politics and the hardships of mortal life. Each message he carries, each conflict he mediates, and each burden he bears reflects not just his role as a messenger, but also his profound commitment to connection. Take a moment to visualize him in sandals worn and scuffed, standing at the crossroads of fate, balancing the desires and grievances of gods and mortals alike. Imagine the countless times he stood in silence, listening to the stories of those he served, absorbing their joys and sorrows, feeling the pulse of humanity in his veins. In these moments, Hermes transforms from a mere messenger into a vital lifeline, a bridge that connects the realms of the divine and the mortal. Throughout our exploration, we've seen how the glamour of Hermes' existence often masks the truth of his daily life filled with trivialities, complaints, and the relentless pursuit of respect. Yet, within this struggle lies a profound beauty, a reminder that even the most revered figures can feel overlooked and undervalued. Hermes teaches us that true worth is measured not by the accolades we receive, but by the impact we have on others, the quiet guidance we offer, and the connections we forge. As you drift further into slumber, let the echoes of Hermes' story resonate within you. Consider the importance of understanding and compassion, the value of each interaction, and the power of words to uplift or diminish. Just as Hermes navigates the complexities of communication, may you find the strength to connect with others in meaningful ways, recognizing the sacredness of every encounter. Now, as we draw our journey to a close, allow the reflections on Hermes' life to settle softly in your mind. The essence of his character marked by resilience, empathy, and quiet strength serves as a gentle reminder that even in a world filled with grand gestures, it is often the small, everyday acts of kindness that leave a lasting imprint on the fabric of existence. As you begin to drift off completely, know that Hermes will continue to inspire. Whether in the whispers of the wind or the gentle rustle of leaves, his presence is a reminder of the power of connection and the beauty that resides in the mundane. End of script. Sweet dreams.